Welcome to Willow Tree, and we are specifically talking about willow bark here, and we want to make clear right off the top. Did you hear me? I just said the royal we, meaning the whole institute. But since I'm the speaker, I think I can say I would like to make clear that we're not talking about willow herb. Willow herb is Epilobium augustifolium. Willow tree, willow bark, is Salix alba, white willow. There's other types of willow tree, nigra and others, but we're going to focus in here on the white willow. So be clear about that. Don't let that confuse you. In the West, this is a plant. The bark is largely associated with fighting pain and inflammation, has antibacterial properties. Do visit the website at White Rabbit Institute of Healing to find out more about the many applications of this healing herb. In the East, it's identified with the bladder, the kidney, the heart, clearing heat. So again, this idea of fighting fevers, reducing inflammation, even damp heat in the bladder, things that can cause bladder infections and that sort of thing. So what you have here is a plant whose main compound is salicylic acid. And salicylic acid is what becomes salicin, and that is what aspirin is made of. Aspirin was inspired by willow bark tree because this compound is powerfully inflammatory, analgesic, fancy way of saying it, fights pain, lowers fevers. You're talking aspirin. And the wonderful news about this is that aspirin is what's known as an NSAID, which stands for Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. Now there's ibuprofen, there's a bunch of them. And they're important because they're not steroids. Steroids can be very powerful and strong, but they also can have side effects you don't want. And so some people that are having to be on these drugs for a long time can get unwanted side effects. NSAIDs can be a great way to handle pain and inflammation without having to have those side effects. However, while aspirin can sometimes be considered to work faster than, say, willow bark does, depending on the circumstances, willow bark is considered to last longer in its effects, and it's far gentler on the system. So for those of you that are in a chronic kind of pain situation, and willow bark, similar to aspirin, can use for acute pain or chronic pain. But the chronic pain situation, your low back, your constant arthritic pains, things of this nature, headaches, where you're constantly turning to an NSAID, you might want to consider willow bark as an alternative because it can have a longer term effect for you and it can be gentler on your tummy. And that's important. You don't want to lose your quality of life if it's at all possible. So check out willow bark, visit whiterabbitinstituteofhealing.com and find out more about this important healing herb that was the inspiration for aspirin, because one of its main compounds is the key ingredient in aspirin.